You are a cultural pioneer, or as I'd like to say, a culture-neer. You're daring to go where others aren't willing to go. The unknown doesn't scare you, it intrigues you. You're not satisfied with the status quo. Business as usual is not in your DNA. You're done with doing the same thing and expecting a different result. You're an explorer at heart and a trendsetter by nature. You were born with purpose, called to lead, destined to make a difference. You are a Culture-Neer. Hey, welcome to the Culture-Neer podcast, where faith, leadership, and culture collide. I'm your host, Terry Gwaltney. Today, I'm joined by two brothers who have really become pillars in the Florida real estate world. Scott and Mark Porter are second-generation leaders in ERA Old South Properties. That's a family-founded business. It's marked by integrity, excellence, and a kingdom-centered purpose. And really, for decades, they've served clients, built teams, mentored young agents, and invested in their city. And probably more importantly, lived out their faith all the way through the work that they do. I think their story is a powerful picture of generational leadership. I met these gentlemen a couple of weeks ago in Florida. I met their dad. Marketplace ministry and culture building, that's an example of doing it the right way. So, Scott and Mark, welcome to the Culture-Neer podcast.
Oh, thank you, Terry. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited for the audience to hear your guys' story. I know second generation now. Is either one of your kids working in the business as well?
Yes, they actually, my son David, he's working with us. He's 29. And then Mark's son Braden, my nephew, he's working with us as well. And he's 24.
So so really three generations. I don't know if your dad is still active, but your dad started in real estate, so it's spanning three generations now. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and the kids have all worked here, all growing up, from emptying trash cans to helping with really kind of every facet of the business. And my wife, as well as Mark's wife, still works here.
So a true family-run business. So I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So I want to hear all about the real estate company and, kind of how God's used that to impact, the thousands of people at this point. But first, tell us a little bit about you guys, get to know you. Are you married, have kids, grandkids, so on and so forth? Give us a little bit of the backstory.
Yeah. I have 3 kids and a wife. Been married for 29 years, coming up on closing in on 30 here very shortly. And anyway, I have my oldest son is in the Navy, and he's 26. And then Braden, as Scott mentioned, he's in the real estate business with us, and he's 24. And then I have a daughter that's 19. She's in and out of the house, and she worked in Alaska last summer, and going to Colorado to work out there this coming ski season. So that's my family makeup right there.
Yep.
Wow.
And then I'm married for 33 years, and I've got 4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls. My oldest son, David, as I mentioned, he works here with us at Old South Properties. And then my wife, she works here as well. She's been here for many years working. And then I've got 2 girls. One is working at an orthodontist place here in town. And then my youngest daughter, she's 23. She got a degree in business from Pensacola Christian College. Then she went back, and now she's getting her nursing degree at Pensacola State College. And she's actually moving out of our house in December. So we'll officially be empty nesters at that point.
Oh, well, it's an interesting time. I've got 3. They've been long out of the nest, and it's an interesting world. We got married young and had kids young, so it seems like we always had kids. We've been married in August. It'll be 40 years, and it was quite the shock. Going and feeling like you had no responsibilities. And of course, then there was a short period of time. Now there's 6 grandkids. So it just kind of recycles. There's just more of them as time goes on. So
you're saying they come back?
Oh, they come back with droves.
Okay.
Anyway, you wouldn't trade anything for it. But being able to look out over, multiple generations, I think it really, I'm reading a book on legacy right now. By David Green and Bill High, and it's fascinating. And the whole book is about looking out over the next 150 years and how you're intentional about what that's going to look like and our responsibility in that role. And so, when you start looking at 3 generations, it's, you get to 5 and, literally you could be spanning 150 years. And so it's pretty interesting and sobering all at the same time. But anyway, talk to us about what was the atmosphere like growing up in a real estate family? Like what culture did your father intentionally or unintentionally create that really shaped who you are today? It kind of segues from that whole legacy conversation.
Well, sure. We were blessed to have great parents. All growing up, we had.
They still are.
Yeah, it still are. Yeah, we very thankful for the parents that we had. We were fortunate in that we weren't coming from a broken home at any time. We had parents that spent time with us, and they both had very strong work ethics. And I think that's one of the things. If we're talking specifically about the real estate industry, Dad was a P-2 pilot in the Navy. All right, and so after he got out, he came back to Pensacola. He lived in New Jersey growing up, and he said that he knew a lot of people that were saving their money to come to Florida, but he didn't know anybody that was saving their money to go to New Jersey. And then the fact that he met, of course, my mom here in Pensacola, it was where they wanted to call home. And so it ended up after he got out of the military, he was actually at a revival, and Jerry Falwell was the speaker, and he wasn't sure if he wanted to be a mission pilot, and because he knew that he thought that the Lord wanted him to do some kind of ministry, but he just wasn't sure what. And of course, he had the skills for being a pilot, and so he literally didn't know what to do. So he went up to Jerry Falwell after the revival, and he said, Pastor Falwell, I think I want to be involved with ministry somehow, either being a missionary pilot or some type of ministry involving flying. He said, but I'm just not sure what direction to go. And Pastor Farwell, he asked him point blank. He says, well, do you have a passion for anything else? And he said, well, I love sales. And he had considered getting in the real estate industry. And he said, well, I'll tell you what. And my father had put numerous resumes in. The airlines, they were not hiring at the time. And just those doors were shutting and shutting. And so he ended up going in the direction of real estate. Pastor Farwell said, well, go in that direction. And if it's not what the Lord wants you to do, then he knows your heart and he'll close those doors. But when he closes them, he'll open another one. And so my dad, he took that advice, and he started pursuing his real estate license, and everything just seemed to fall into place. He loved what he was doing, and that's how he got started in real estate. And as you're an entrepreneur, you're an independent contractor. It's your own business, so you're working at your own pace, your own time. And he was always been a very hard worker, and so he instilled those values, hard work, from the very beginning. I can remember like hardly being able to walk, and we were emptying trash cans at the office, and we were doing every bit, cutting grass when we were old enough to cut grass. When we got our license to drive, putting up all the for sale signs at the different homes that were for sale or for rent. And so we really have just kind of grown up in every facet of the industry. And that was because of him being, the leader, I guess you would say, the owner of a real estate company. And so that's how we got started in the industry.
Just to kind of tag on to that, I remember many nights. One big thing that mom and dad always did was mom always had food on the table for what we called supper. A lot of people call it dinner.
Yeah.
We still call it supper, dinner. So mom would have food on the table. Dad would come in. He rarely ever missed a dinner or supper with us. And so he would bring everything home, and because he's in the middle of building a business. So he would bring everything home. And many nights, I remember after we would get done all clearing the table and all that, he would pull all his folders out, and he would have them all out there working on the dining room table. We lived in the same house for 22 years, I think. Bad for real estate, but anyway, we stayed in the same house a long time, and many nights I would try to stay up with him sleeping on the floor. I'd end up falling asleep, but we'd see the sun come up in the morning. So there were many of those nights while he was building the company that he would just work through the night and take a shower and sometimes go back into work the next day. I mean, just really hard worker and really instilled that in us.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was a hard worker from,
is.
And still is, but he always had time for us. He was always at our ball games. He was, we were involved in all the different sports. So he was vitally important, or played a vital role in being available and being there with whatever we were involved with. But at the same time, he worked very hard. So it's like he played hard, but he worked hard.
Yeah. That's really interesting, because I think for a lot of people, it seems like in business, they make one or two choices. I'm either going to, win at home, and I'm not going to be very successful in my career. I'm just going to have a job, or I'm going to win in my career and I'm not going to win at home. And I believe you can do both, but you have to be intentional about it. So how do you think your dad was intentional about that? And what did you learn from that you practiced with your own kids? Because that's not common, to be a super high achiever and still have a healthy family intact. It usually comes at a severe price.
I'll be the first to say, in all transparency, I haven't hit it every time. I mean, it's
None of us do.
It's a bad struggle. I mean, it is. You nailed it. It's not easy. And I won't say I perfected it at all, but I did. A lot of times I would make a decision. I'm just going to go to the game, or going to be home for dinner. Sometimes now we have a microwave, so a lot of meals got heated up over the years, So like I said, it wasn't perfect or anything, but did try to make it home to do all that. And I think just knowing how our parent, or my parents, his parents, did it, made a big impact, and just something we just said, I made the choice. That's what I want to do. I'm going to sacrifice some money if we have to, no problem. But family will be gone. Kids will grow up and be gone, and then my wife and I will be looking across the table. Did we do it right? So
yeah,
we still ask the question.
Yeah,
the jury's still out.
Terry, we've had several agents come through Old South Properties through the years, and I think of one specific agent who her whole life was real estate. From the time she woke up in the morning until she went to bed, it was real estate. All hours of the night, early morning, and I watched that. And she was a top agent through ERA nationally for years, and just a really high-profile agent. Super nice lady, very sweet, would do anything for you. But that was her life. And I, growing up, looking at that, I knew for me that's not what I wanted. I wanted to have a situation where I don't want to say I haven't been motivated by money, but that's never been the most important thing for me in the work that I have done. I remember my cousin as a 5-year-old kid. I went to visit him in another town, and I remember him sitting on the edge of his bed crying and saying that his parents were going through a divorce, my cousin. And he said, "You'll never know what this does to us kids." And I knew right then I had made a decision. I didn't realize I was making that decision consciously at that time.
Yeah.
But I knew that no matter what I was going to be going through in life, I would stick things out so that my kids didn't have to go through what he was experiencing. And I can still picture him today sitting on the edge of that bed with the tears coming down his face, explaining that to me. So I'm like Mark. I've missed the mark numerous times in my marriage and priorities, getting things out of whack. But I did know for a fact that I would work through whatever obstacles and stuff that came along the path so that my kids didn't have to go through and experience what he did.
That's such a good point. A few weeks ago, I was at a men's conference, and one of the speakers was Jeff Foxworthy. And I thought, well, this is interesting. I didn't even know Jeff Foxworthy was a believer, let alone he was going to be a speaker amongst some pretty high-profile speakers. And he opened the conference. But man, was I surprised. And one of the things that he said is he told a little bit of his story growing up, really with an absence of dad. And he said, you know what every kid hears when their parents are going through divorce? It doesn't matter what the mom or dad are telling them. This is what they hear. I just wasn't worth staying for. Mm. And they carry that with them for the rest of their life. Yeah. And so the fact of what you've seen marked you, to make a difference. I mean, that's why we're talking about this stuff today. None of us have got this perfect, and I think it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And hopefully at the end of the day, we're a little further down the road. I like to say, thank God I'm not where I need to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be, and so we're making steps and we're progressing that way. And I think when it comes to time, if you're listening today, it's not like that everything is equal amount of time. Yes, if you get 8 hours of sleep, you're going to live longer. But I don't have 8 hours just to stare into my wife's eyes every day and tell her how much I love her. And so if you think about life, it's not equal, so it's more about the quality of the time than it is the quantity. And I think for us in business, understanding the seasons we're in, there's a different season when you're starting a business. It's like there's a different season when you go from being married to having a newborn and having teenagers. And, those are just different seasons, and you've got to be able to be flexible with that. But I think that the challenge that we're dealing with today and the quality of the time is having the discipline to put our phones down, because being in the same room does not mean you're present. And being there and looking at that phone while you're having one of your kids or your grandkids or your spouse trying to talk to you. I remember when I thought I was doing okay with that, and my wife said, every time you answer that phone, you know what it tells me? That whoever's on the other end of that's more important to me, more important than I am. And it's like, whoa, I've had some of those mic drop moments, that just really caused me to sit back and look in the mirror again. Like when she said, that business gets the best of you and I get the leftovers. Like, boom, there's another mic moment. I was doing good with this.
I've never had that
and
issue.
I think,
no, I'm kidding.
yeah. Well, learn from my mistakes.
I've had plenty of those issues.
But I think for all of us, we know what's important, but man, when it comes down to decision time, it's consistently making those right choices when everything is pulling against you. And we're in this thing for the long haul. So,
yeah. And, I guess you'd say we're a product of our parents, obviously. Dad was a worker. And I know for my life, I became a workaholic. When I got involved in real estate, I didn't even think that I was going to be in real estate at first, because I actually changed my major from business and I was to criminal justice. I wanted to be a DEA agent. And so that was the path that I thought I was taking, but the Lord shut every single door. And I ended up going back to Tennessee Temple and finishing out my degree up there in business. And I had gotten my real estate license when I graduated from high school in '86. So I'd already had my real estate license, and it was just a matter of, going through, and it wasn't that my parents expected me to go into real estate, because we'd had that conversation many times that they want me to do what I wanted to do, but it was comfortable. I grew up in it, so it's kind of what I knew. And when the doors were shut on the criminal justice aspect of life, then I ended up going back and finishing my degree in business, and I came back and started working full time in the family business at that point, in the real estate business. But yeah, I thought I was going to be going down a different path, but Lord did shut those doors, and so I'd seen my dad work, and so I thought that's the same thing. You work at that pace, and he instilled a strong work ethic. Faster you can get something done, the faster you can move on to the next thing that needs to be accomplished. And so that was one of those deals that was just kind of like we just grew up always working, never sitting around. There was never such a thing as sitting around being bored. Or anything like that.
We were always voluntold.
Yes, we were always working. We were always, and I will say this: we worked extremely hard, but at the same time, when it was time to play and have off, we played super hard. So that's the only drive that we really knew.
Yeah.
Kind of my, I guess, evolution of getting into the real estate business. I was not going to go into real estate. I saw what Dad went through and just a lot of things, working with agents and things like that. I said that won't be part of my future. So I went right after high school, right after high school, I started. I went to college, and because that's what we were supposed to do at that time. So anyway, I saw Scott pay his way through college, so I thought, man, I have to do that. It's not an option. So anyway, I went to Alaska, worked in Alaska for 2 summers in logging. After my high school year, my summer after my high school year, and then went to my freshman year of college. Still, let's back up really quick. Senior year of high school, you're doing your vocation paper. I was going to be an architect. I was going to design properties so that somebody could build them, sell them to my dad, or my dad could sell them. Scott could manage them. So he was already in property management at that time. So we had all worked out. And anyway, I did that vocation paper, sent away some questionnaires to some of the local architects. I found out you have to be very smart to get in architectural school. So I shifted, went to a different direction. So, got a business degree. And anyway, partway through I still didn't have my real estate license, but partway through my sophomore year in college, I didn't even tell my dad. I just said I signed up for this real estate course with a guy here local in Pensacola, and started taking that. And then I let him know. I said, "Yeah, hey, I'm taking that test or the course while I'm in school." And I just saw a habit. Actually, I'd met my wife at that time. Well, she was my girlfriend at that time, and so I wanted to figure out a way to maybe come out of the Alaskan woods so that I could be home during summers. So anyway, I have her to thank for me going into real estate, but started selling real estate at that time, sophomore year. And I had a cell phone, could call in airstrikes with it. It was pretty big. And beeper, on your side, see those come through. I was embarrassed about it because I had a laptop and a cell phone and a beeper. So it was like, I look like a drug dealer, I guess, on campus or something. But anyway, I would go down a vacant hallway, where nobody was. I'd get on that phone and return a call and stuff. So that's kind of, I started sitting open houses so I could study while I was in a new construction open house. And so that's kind of how I started in the real estate business that I was not going to go into. Mm-hmm. And now I think I've 31 years. I think I've been in 31 years now. So I think I'm going to probably call it a career.
Next year, I will have had my license 40 years. That's crazy.
Wow. Wow. That's interesting how we feel like we've got our whole life mapped out in the direction we're going to go. And, God has wired us a certain way and he's laid out a path before us. And when we find it, it seems like it just hits. It's not that it's not difficult and it's definitely still hard work, but it becomes really, really obvious. This was the path that was kind of laid out for me. And man, I see a lot of people, unfortunately, they've spent the last 30 or 40 years in stuff they hate because they still haven't figured out what that path is. I know one of the hardest lessons for me was, and still is a struggle, is trying to move from asking God to bless whatever I've decided to do and spending a little bit more time asking what he wants me to do, because therein lies the blessing, and I just lean into that. And that's cost me a lot of time. But fortunately, even the space that I'm in today is, I know that, that's been laid out for me, and I'm starting to walk in it. And there's no fulfillment like that. And I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah.
So you fast forward into your business, you got employees, obviously. You mentor, you lead a team. Like what elements of, let's say, like kingdom culture, because I know faith is important for both of you guys. So that comes into everything you do and how you run your business. How do you intentionally instill a kingdom kind of culture in the agents that you're developing? Like, how are you passing on some of those core values that are important to you?
Yeah, I know for us, we've talked about this a lot. We're in the property management business as well. And the same principle applies in real estate sales as well, because I could give numerous examples of situations that it would have been easier not to say anything, but the right thing was to bring attention to something and talk about it so that it's, everybody knows what's going on. But I think we've always, and it goes back to the way that we were brought up in that you always do what is right. always, no matter what it costs, you're going to always do what is right. And it's, it does cost you, sometimes in time, sometimes financially, to do what's right. But with your staff, when you're working with them, they already know, when you're dealing with a situation, like for instance, with property management, the only time the phone typically rings is when there is a problem, because you're solving problems, things that are breaking, you're helping with owners, trying to get financing for certain repairs. And there's just a host of issues and problems that you deal with. But if they know right from the very beginning, no matter what, you're going to always do what is right, even if it's not in our best interest, then, the staff sees that, and they know the culture that we have here from that standpoint. And I think it does make a big difference in the way that they approach different issues and different things that are going to come up that need to be resolved. We try to always make sure that what we're doing is right. And of course, that's foundation comes from the Bible. That's our company is built on that. And so we try to make sure that everything that we're doing, it falls right in line with, it's not going to be more Christ-like. How would Christ want us to handle that and deal with that situation? And sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it's, you've got people that are yelling at you because they're upset because their air conditioner went out in 100-degree weather at 2:00 in the morning. And so you're trying to be a calm voice in that storm. But if you have that foundation from the very beginning, then it's a whole lot easier to deal with the situations as they come along.
Yeah, and what a way to build a reputation. I mean, I'm assuming your business, like any business, but maybe even more so, is really built on reputation and referrals, and doing the right thing even when it's inconvenience is really the only way to do that consistently.
Yep. That is true.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I want to hear your thoughts.
I was just going to say, we have, one of our core values is no commission is worth your reputation. So basically what that means is don't compromise your integrity or on anything just to get a commission. There's going to be another commission out there. There's going to be another house to sell. We sell in this market. We sell between 600 and 900 houses a month, just in our overall 2-county area that we service. So there's going to be another sale. You just have to make sure you're part of it. But yeah, don't ever sacrifice, your integrity to just earn a commission, because it's so, when you become transactional rather than relational, it is, your business is going to stop after the transaction. And so just develop, good relationships with people, with your vendors, with customers, your friends, family, their friends and family, and you will have enough business. So that's not to worry about the commission. That's a byproduct of good relationships. So
such a good point, because I think too many business owners think transactionally, so they don't think beyond the moment. And when you start thinking relationally, it tends to lead to generational sales. I know for the business we're in, I don't want you to be happy long enough to be able to cash your check. I want you to be happy long enough to be able to do business with your kids and your kids' kids.
Exactly.
And so it becomes that generational selling. But it changes the approach on a lot of decisions through the process. It's not about what you can get by with. It's about doing it the right way in the moment for a long-term gain, which really ends up being an investment on the front end. Sometimes it even costs more. So you have to be able to tell that story in the proper way so people see the value in it. But so how has real estate kind of indirectly ended up being a ministry for you guys? Because I know you're passionate about helping people, and I know you're helping people get in their homes and stuff. But and maybe that's it. I don't know. But how have you seen that as an opportunity to be able to serve people on a whole nother level?
My first thought is anytime somebody needs to buy a house, there's a whole bunch of people involved in the transaction. And so they're all going to be watching how you react to different situations. And like Scott mentioned earlier, really we wouldn't have a job in the real estate business or property management or sales or property management if we didn't have problems. And so that's what, like, even in the world, people always are just kind of watching people to see how they react when turbulence comes. And so, we see a lot of turbulence in the real estate business. You can put the contract together for a purchase, and then that's just the one part of it. Everybody says, congratulations, you got something under contract. Well, there's a lot of stuff has to happen till you get to closing. And so you're going to be met with a lot of potential adversity. We have them every once in a while that they just go smooth sailing all the way to closing. And then you just go and it actually closed. There was
It's a miracle.
wrong. So I think
So it's not the norm.
it's not the norm. The Lord allows those, I think, just so that you don't get out of the business.
Yeah.
Just kind of it's sort of like a good golf shot, right at the end of the round, keeps you coming back. But no, I think people like I said, we get to be a part of so many people's lives during a transaction that they get to see. We get to go through tough times together. When you suffer together, sometimes the door is open to be able to talk to them about the Lord, or even just let them know, I'm praying about this whole situation. And many times the other side of the transaction won't open up until you open the door, and then they're like, different person, so so it's kind of I say easy, you have to be intentional about it, but you can intentionally drip a few things along early on, and then it opens up doors down the road when problems come along. So
yeah,
it's good.
So similar, but a slightly different question. How have you seen God use your business to impact the kingdom?
Well, I would say from the couple ministries that we're involved with, the Lord has blessed us tremendously through the years, and so we give back, and we give back to ministries from a financial standpoint, specifically ones that end up sharing the gospel, and it doesn't have to be local. It can be across the country, because we do that, but. So we try to take the dollars that the Lord has blessed us with and invest those back in many different ministries that share the gospel, because we strongly believe in that commission that the Lord has given to us. From a standpoint locally, I think of one situation specifically that comes to mind where we're involved in a couple local ministries. One's called the Men's Barn Meeting, and the other's called Trophies of Grace, which are from out of this area. And I had a lady call me about coming to list her house for sale. And when I went over to the house, when I pulled up, it was one that was not in good condition. It was just, I really, honestly, I even hated to go into the property because it was in such what I would call deplorable condition from the standpoint of deferred maintenance and just something that was going to be a very difficult challenge. Now, I didn't know anything that I was getting ready to walk into. And so my whole perspective changed once I got inside. And that was, she took me through the house. And when I walked through the front door, it was an off-grade house. There were actually holes in the wooden floor all through the house because it had deteriorated so bad. It just was in that kind of shape. Well, when we got done and she was asking what she should do and stuff like that, and that's hard for me to answer her question, what should she do with her house, because I don't know what her financial goals are. I don't know what her financial situation is. I don't know if she has another place to go move to, that type of thing. But really what it boiled down to is that she didn't want to move. She didn't want to sell the house. She didn't want to rent the house. She just wanted to tell me thank you for being a part of the Men's Barn Meeting, because her grandson, I think it was either 16 or 17 years old. She had gone to the barn meeting, which is a local outreach that we do for our community. And he had gotten saved that summer. Well, in December, he passed away in a motorcycle accident. And she wanted to just say thank you. She told me when I walked into the dining room area, she said, "Do you see that picture on the mantle?" And I said, "Well, yes, ma'am." And it was a picture of her grandson. And she said, "I just wanted to tell you thank you for the barn meeting that you do." because he got saved in the summer. And then, of course, he passed away in December. So it made a difference in eternity for that kid's life. And so those type of things, although sad, very rewarding, because, you made a difference that money on this earth can't buy,
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, there's a much bigger purpose to everything that we're doing, and it's not just see how much stuff we can amass to see who wins at the end, is it?
Oh no! I mean, she had tears coming down her face. I had tears coming down mine. I had a lump in my throat so bad I couldn't even swallow. I mean, well, you can't hardly say anything, but I mean, it was. I think the Lord gave those confirmations along the way, things like that, to just let you know that, hey, that you are making a difference in the lives of people, not on a national basis, but you're also making a difference locally.
Well, I've heard stories being echoed from Florida all the way to Illinois, so I wouldn't discount having a national impact. So now I know you guys both love hunting, fishing. You spend a lot of time outdoors. How have those rhythms kind of help restore you and keep you grounded? Because I think everybody needs to, I think it was Scott that mentioned, you're prone to be a workaholic, and I think for high achievers that there's always that temptation, and we need something that can kind of just let us decompress, get our mind off. I'm assuming that must be this for you guys, but
yeah, it definitely is for me. I love nothing more than getting on a tractor and working on a food plot, or sitting in a deer stand, or my favorite is turkey hunting. I will travel anywhere to turkey hunt. I love turkey hunting.
Just put that out.
I mean, I look at God's creation and it truly amazes me. And just, I'm blown away by how he put everything in place, and how in the morning, how the woods just come alive, the natural sounds of the birds, of, turkey gobbling, a crow calling, and just, I've always been fascinated by that. And I've always had just a deep love for that, because I see it as something incredible that he's created. And I just love to be a part of it. It literally is a way that I can clear my mind and get away from the stuff that we deal with on a daily basis in the work environment.
Yeah, mine. The tractor therapy, there's nothing like it. When it comes time to plant, we're all like, I'll take it.
I'll do it, yeah.
But yeah, I probably on my phone have 15 or 20 pictures of the front of the tractor or the back of the tractor. Just, when somebody texts me or something, I'll shoot them. Said I'm in therapy right now. I can call you in a little bit, and it'll be a picture of the tractor I'm sitting on.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love getting out there and doing that.
Well, Scott, you may circle up with me after this. I may know a place for you to turkey hunt. So, and we have a tractor, so maybe you guys can just come together, and Mark can drive around circles, and you can hunt turkeys. So, so you're in an industry, very unpredictable hours. Some nuggets you can drop for the audience. How do you create margin? How do you work to stay present at home? How do you remain spiritually anchored? Tackle all of those, or pick one. What kind of advice could you give us?
Oh man, I'm not drawing a blank. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I've having grown up in it, I've not really known anything else. It's the only full-time job that I've had. Of course, I had jobs all growing up through college. When I was away at college, like Mark, I worked in Alaska for a couple of years, paying my way through school. And then I did your paper routes all through college, while I was there, at the college. And so when I got out, I've only known one job full time, and that's been the real estate industry. And I've just accepted the fact that wherever I go, I mean, if you're pretty much not on call unless you're like on a vacation, and then even on vacation, you're still trying to put deals together. I've not known anything different than that. I've got a lot of friends who they have 8 to 5 jobs, and that's wonderful and great. But mine is not an 8 to 5, and then they get several weeks off throughout the year where they just go unplug and they don't do anything. I couldn't even relate to that because I wouldn't even know where to begin. So I think it goes back to the very beginning. What was real important to me in my work was I like being able to have my own schedule. And you pretty well, when you own your own business, you can set your hours, but you work a lot more hours than your employees do, as you know.
They
have
say
your own business.
You pick which 12 hours part.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So I know working all the time has just been kind of ingrained into us, but spending time with the kids, making sure I was at all of their functions and their games, that was critically important to me because of what I had experienced with my cousin growing up, which I alluded to earlier. And then when we're on vacation, going and playing really hard, but my family has always known that, hey, if you're dealing on a business transaction, that you've got to give somebody an explanation or they need an answer on something because they can't move forward. And as you know, real estate is time related. You're hitting certain deadlines and closings. And so you've got a time schedule that 3 different parties or 4 different parties are all working together to accomplish. I don't want them to be held up because of me. And so it's not easy, but I try to do the best that I can, and I have missed the mark many times where I think of one time that Mark and I went to Kansas hunting. We were looking forward to this for a whole year. We had to put in our draw for it. We got drawn for the hunt. We were super excited. It was going to be a bow hunt in the rut. And we did more business in that 1 week than we did the entire 51 weeks prior. It's just, that's the way that it worked out. But we were sending instructions from the stand while we're trying to hold a bow, and we were all working on different contracts. And not only does he oversee the sales department, I oversee the property management department, but then we have a sales team together. And so we work on our own sales together. So we're both working on these same contracts, trying to put everything in motion. And we walked away from it. I was like, why didn't we even come hunting this week? Because it's just the way that it happened.
The week
It's crazy.
He's got to tell us one quick story. That was a different year. Okay, never mind. But yeah, we have we've worked many times on the phone, and then we get back to the hotel, and then now we're on the computer. And anyway, it was just exciting to figure it out and make that work. But now with everything where you can travel with everything, have access to everything in the cloud, that's kind of changed a lot. Not in a really good way, but in a sort of a good way. Easier. Yeah, it's made it easier to handle it. Like at a restaurant, when you say I have to slip away and run to the restroom on your way back, make your call or whatever. Try to make it where the family is not affected. But yeah, it's a tricky thing nowadays. Back, just several years ago, we would get somebody to cover for us while we were gone. So we'd drop 15 files on their desk and say, hey, if anything happens, here's the folder.
Yeah.
But now it's a lot different. So
I will say one thing. Mark and I kind of many years ago, we ended up making a determination that we would not be gone out of the office at the same time. Okay. And that has worked very well for us because when he goes on vacation, if he has certain things that need to be done, then I can handle for him and vice versa. When I go out of town, he can handle and cover those things. And of course, we're always available by phone to be able to answer any questions that might not be, easily taken care of. So we work very well together. It's been a family dynamic that I think has been a real blessing in our business because it's allowed us to accomplish some things that probably otherwise we would not have been able to.
Yeah, it's good. Well, all right, gentlemen, we're going to close out here with some Culture-Neer quick moments. If you're good with that, I'll. If you guys just want to take every other one of these will just be kind of rapid fire questions, and you can just give us a short response. And if you're up for that,
all right.
We'll give it our best shot.
All right. Greatest lesson in your years in business have taught you? What's the greatest lesson?
I have one.
Go ahead.
It's kind of raw, but it's never pass up the opportunity to shut up. I had
That's good.
I mean, you kind of unpack a little bit, but it's basically God made us with 2 ears, one mouth, listen twice as much as you talk. It's funny. You handed me a book. Do you remember this? What I'm going to tell? I had just written down. It's probably 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks ago. I wrote down something that I need to work on, and that's listening better, not talking as much. And so I'll shut up here in a minute. But anyway, so you handed me this book, and I'm like, oh, this is probably something I need, because there was a page in there that was dog-eared. I open it up. It's all about listening. Am I lying? I'm telling you the truth.
You're not lying.
It's a fact. So anyway, that was wild. And I think I had just met you maybe the day before, just briefly. And then you handed me that book, and I was like, this is probably something. So I shared that with my wife, and she said, yeah, maybe you should take these. So anyway,
you should listen more.
But a commander of of one of the aircraft carriers, he retired, got into real estate. His plan was to do it for 10 years. I would always write down words of wisdom from him, and that was one of them that he told me many years ago, and it was just never pass up the opportunity to shut up. So
that's good.
So
I would say, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was going to ask you another, but go ahead if you got something else to add.
I was going to say, sometimes, in the real estate industry, there's a lot of legal issues and stuff that go on, and you deal with a lot of different problems and stuff that can arise in property management as well. And I think even from a personnel standpoint, from a transaction, dealing with the transactions that we deal with, there's a tendency to only start praying and asking other people to pray for you when you get in that situation. And when I look back over my 33 years of full-time property management and sales, I would say, if you just make it a daily part, prayer, a daily part of what you do, then things just, I can't explain it. They just work out so much better, because you're on the same page. You're talking to the Lord about what's going on, and you're not waiting until you're in a crisis situation to then reach out. You've already got that relationship established, and then you can also look back and you can see how He's answered prayer all through your business.
That's good. This is probably an easy one. What's the greatest lesson your parents ever taught you?
Man, I would say integrity. I mean, when nobody's watching, do right. They taught it. We didn't always do it. Still don't always do it. But that's one thing that I think they taught us. And respect.
Yeah, I would say a strong work ethic that they instilled in us, and then also time for family, for kids, spending time with them. They were always available, and if it was important to us, it was important to them. And so I've tried to do the same thing in my family as well.
Yeah, I'll share with you a proud moment. It was actually kind of emotional for me. I was at your barn meeting. This has been 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I hadn't met your dad yet. And your dad's, I think, 82 years old now. And I was sitting down in the audience, and people were eating their dinner. And I look over, and you guys were serving. I think Scott was throwing rolls. I can't remember what Mark was doing. Felt like I was at Lambert's for any of you people that are listening. But over there on the side was your 82-year-old dad, and he was taking pictures. And I was thinking about my 2 sons who serve alongside me. I was thinking, I wonder what that feels like for Dad to be sitting here and watching this whole thing happen because of a dream their sons had. And he said yes and just made it possible in all of these lives. that are getting impacted. And I thought, wow, what a legacy to leave behind. And I took a picture of him taking a picture of you guys. And I don't know if I've sent that to you yet or not, but I will. I thought, man, what a cool moment that he's still taking pictures after 23 years of this thing happening, and it's still impacting him. And that's something you should be super, super proud of. So
That's neat.
a value you refuse to compromise no matter the cost.
I mean, I'd say
The truth.
the truth. Always tell the truth. Always do right in your business, and don't ever compromise it.
And I think our last question for today is, when your time here on earth is over, how do you want to be remembered? What kind of mark do you want to leave that can't be erased?
Oh man, I mean, not to sound too spiritual, but I do want to finish strong. I've failed many times along the path, along the journey, but I do want to finish strong, and I want to be got my first grandchild. She just turned 1 on November the 6th, and the joy that she has brought, and that I see how my daughter-in-law and how my son are bringing her up, and the time that they're spending with her, and the values that they're trying to instill at her already at this age. That has been extremely rewarding, and I want to continue to keep moving forward, and honestly finish strong and be a good example for them as well.
So good.
Yes.
Mark?
Yeah. I mean, I saw that clip, that Charlie Kirk did when the guy was interviewing him. He said, how do you want to be remembered? And he said his courage for the faith, and one of the things, I'd seen something about as far as how do you work that out in your, in a secular type situation, real estate company, whatever business you're in, and just being courageous and not worry. I mean, really, in the end, when everything is said and done and you draw your last breath, only the things that you, investments that you put into people's lives are going to matter. So, just being right by people, making sure lost people they don't see you go without you sharing your faith with them. People that you walk by every day. That's a big deal. Somebody online a couple days ago mentioned something about this person and they said, just go to hell. And I just kind of responded to them that, boy, that's a strong statement, and if you're not sharing your faith with people, that's exactly what you're kind of helping them do, is just going there. So it's just so important to people that you love, people that really it doesn't tell you, the Great Commission doesn't tell you to share the gospel with those you love and are easy. It's easy to do. It just says, share the gospel.
Yeah.
The finished work of the cross is the main thing, and you need to share that with people. And so
That's
I guess
good.
I would want to be known for that.
That's good. Well, guys, thanks for sharing your time and sharing your story. Definitely one worth telling, and I appreciate you just making space in your schedule to make it happen today.
I sure enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Terry, for inviting us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Guys, remember, culture, it's only as healthy as the leader. We'll see you next time on the Culture-Neer podcast.
Thank you for joining us on Culture-Neer, where every episode is a step forward on your leadership journey. We hope today's conversation sparked new insights and added real value to your life, empowering you to lead with greater strength and purpose. If you enjoyed what you heard, please connect with us. Follow our Facebook and Instagram pages, subscribe to our YouTube channel for exclusive content, and give us a rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Your support helps us grow our community and continue delivering conversations that matter. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, keep striving, keep leading, and keep inspiring.